Representative Andy Kim of New Jersey for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Secretary. I wanted to drill down on some elements that you talked about. You talked about the challenge that we faced a month ago as a collapse of the Afghan security forces as well as the Afghan government. And I wanted to unpack that a little bit. From your assessment, now we have a month behind us, was this a situation where the Afghan security forces did not fight? Or was this a situation that they were not given the orders to fight or given a strategy to actually implement that? I wanted to see if there was a greater sense of granularity that you have on that.
So I think it was a combination of both factors, and you're right to point to them. But I think that to some large extent, those security forces were ill-served by the leadership that they had in giving them a coherent plan. We throughout the summer, we were pressing, and obviously the experts were pressing, our military leaders and other experts, but also me in conversations that I had with then President Ghani and others to put in place an effective plan, and in particular to make sure that they were consolidating their forces to more effectively defend the major cities, Kabul and large provincial capitals. And so in the absence, despite extensive efforts to get them to adopt those plans, I think that made it a lot harder on the security forces that wanted to fight.
Yeah. No, I think so, and I think, look, this is going to be one of the most important questions. When we look back at this and try to understand and diagnose where the problem was. A related element to this is it's a question I've actually asked to some State Department staff and senior staff before, but I wanted to get your take on it. Mr. Secretary, did former President Ashraf Ghani secure anything for his people with his departure, or did he flee as a coward?
Look, I don't want to characterize his departure other than to say that that combined with, as an institution, the Afghan security forces not putting up resistance, and all of this taking place in the space of 11 days, obviously is what put us into this emergency evacuation.
Did you have any prior knowledge that he was going to flee, or did you hear about it when he announced it on social media?
I spoke to President Ghani on a Saturday night, and this was when we were in the process of working in Doha to try to organize a transfer of power and to have toward a representative government, and to see that he would participate in that. And what he told me in that conversation was that he would go along with that effort, but if the Taliban wouldn't, he would, and I paraphrase, fight to the death. That was Saturday night. He left the next day. I had no advance warning of that.
Mr. Secretary, I wanted to ask you if you've personally spoken to any Taliban leadership.
I have not.
I guess the question is are you actively choosing not to speak to them? Is this a point of leverage and legitimacy in your mind? And if that is the case, who is the most senior person in the U.S. government right now talking directly to the Taliban, and who is their counterpart on the other side?
We've made very clear to the Taliban, as have countries around the world, with our leadership and organization, that any legitimacy that they may seek from the international community, any support that they may be looking for, is going to be contingent on their actions. And basically the nature of the relationship that they might have with us or anyone else will be defined by what they do.
Just in terms of what's happening right now,
we've had a political channel. We've had a political channel with them going back to the previous administration, with a team that does engage them politically, and Ambassador Khalilzad has been leading that effort, but with other members of the team. They're the ones, as well as our mission in Doha, the Afghanistan affairs mission, once the embassy shut down, was moved to Doha. Ian McCarry, who runs that, is also engaging with their political commission members in Doha.
Yeah, and just final question here. There's a lot that we need to unpack over the course of 20 years. And certainly these different committees we're on in Congress will see different elements of it, the political side, the diplomatic side, the military, intelligence, et cetera. But I wanted to ask you, would the administration support a 9/11-like independent commission that would look across all of these different pillars to try to assess an analysis of what happened?
I can't speak for the administration on that. All I can say is that, as others have said, we're all going to do our hot washes, to use the vernacular, on the last 9 months since we've been in office, and I hope and expect that all of us will engage in a review of the last 20 years.
Great, thank you, Mr.
Gentleman's
Secretary.
time has expired.